you got to deal with your stuff.
Yeah.
And we have been in a culture where it's almost communicated to just don't deal with it. Put it back and let's just kind of move on. And you know what? That advice is good for certain times, but it's also there's a time we got to acknowledge and deal.
Well, the first time I sat down with a therapist, she asked me, she was like, "Hey, like, how are you feeling right now?" I'm like, "Good." "Okay." Like, explain, like, talk to me about the feelings you got going on. I was like, don't really know how to do that. You know, I'm good. I mean, the joy of the Lord is my strength, you know? And I know this sounds so lame. Like, I'm always the guy that grabs like a pillow and puts it in his lap or something. Yeah. She was like, "That pillow right there." I was like, "Yeah." She said, "Oh, on the other side of it, it's like this wheel with like all these different emotions." And she's like, "Pick one. Which one of those are you feeling?" I did not realize there was that many emotions. I literally thought there was happy and there's sad, or there's joy and there's anger. Like, those were the extremes. The reality is, wow, there's so many different emotions. Welcome back, everybody, to another conversation with your friends, Red and Justin, right here at Armchair Authentic, a podcast where we're having real conversations about real life with real people. Now, Justin and I have been doing life with each other for over 39 years, and we've got stories. We have conversations all the time, and we decided that we just wanted to steward our stories. We wanted to steward our relationships and even our conversations in a way that serves you. And that is what this podcast is all about. So if this is your first time with us, welcome, friends. It's so great to have you along for the ride today. Now, we don't want to waste a lot of time on the front end, so we're just going to go ahead and dive into the conversation right now. You guys ready? Here we go. Well, Justin, I feel so much better than the last episode.
You sound so much better.
Thank you, bud. I'm on the back end. Well, that's up for debate, you know.
You do. Well, some people might like that low voice.
I kind of went in last week and I was listening and just talking slower and
you were
deep and now I'm back to this, you know. But no,
and there goes my energy.
And there goes, yeah.
I'm the less energetic renegade.
Yeah, it was amazing. I was like, "Come on, Justin, bring the energy." You did a great job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Well, thank you for every single one of you who have dealt patiently with me on that episode. But I'm feeling much better. I'm on the back end of it, so hopefully by the next episode we record, I'll be even better.
Great.
But if we're batch recording this in the same day, you know, it's still going to be the same.
Yeah,
maybe in 3 or 4 weeks.
Exactly. Yeah. Episode 60 or 70.
Yeah, there you go. Anyways,
you should be full strength.
So I'm not one big on dreams, but I woke up this morning remembering what I dreamed last night, and it was to say it was strange was. Yeah. So I'll let you guys be the judge. So I literally had a dream last night.
Yes.
That I was playing golf with Michael Jordan.
Well, that's good.
Tiger Woods.
Wow.
And on a par 5, which is impossible to do, I shot I from the tee box. I got a hole in one.
Impressive.
Yeah. And I remember that. And I woke up this morning thinking, what does that mean?
You have any thoughts?
Like, actually, Gary P. Turner, also known as Chat GPT.
Is that true?
No, that's just what I made.
I was about to say, I've never heard that one.
Yeah. Gary P. Turner helped me out with a little bit of this. In fact, I was actually putting this in this morning to grammar correct a text that I was going to send the fellas in our small group. And so, fellas, if you're listening, you already know about this. But anyway, so I put it into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT thought I was asking it for a dream interpretation. So here is ChatGPT's response to me.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Because I said, "Fellas, last night I had a dream. I played golf with Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods, and I got a hole-in-one on a short par 5. Anyone have the gift of interpretation?" And that was a joke. But I put that in there thinking, I want to make sure my grammar is correct if I'm sending this out in a group text. But ChatGPT thought I was like talking to it. And so it said, "That dream is legendary." Literally. Here's a playful interpretation. Michael Jordan equals excellence,
Okay.
competitiveness, GOAT, level dominance. Tiger Woods equals mastery, precision, and overcoming odds. A hole in one on a par 5? Impossible odds. Absolutely shattered. So maybe the dream is saying this, Rhett, you're stepping into a season where the impossible becomes possible. With the right company, confidence, and a little favor from heaven, you're about to crush something nobody thought could be done. Or it could mean you really need to play more golf. Either way, I'd say dream big and keep swinging.
That's good.
I mean, come on.
I mean, that sounds like any prophet a church would have come into town and give an
ChatGPT
explanation.
will tell you anything you want it to tell you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I know how he operates. I know what he likes.
Oh, he knows you.
Oh, yeah.
It knows you.
It
knows you well.
It knows me.
It hears all your conversations.
Yeah.
It hears everything that you dream of. It's like, he'll like this.
I mean, like
That dreamer is going to love this interpretation.
oh, man. You know, and I was thinking, well, I mean, that's a pretty good interpretation, I would think.
Oh, it's beautiful.
But I never really remember my dreams. So when I wake up to this, I'm thinking, I'm not saying there's any spiritual significance to this, but that's a pretty good interpretation.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I could do better. It was great. Excellent.
You don't want to
precision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something
No.
that's impossible. You're about to get done with the right people,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Are
with
you
a little
asking-
hope of heaven.
Are you asking another interpretation?
Sure.
Or are you asking,
No, man,
what are my thoughts on that?
What are your thoughts on any of it?
It means, let's see. Some of it will copy old Gary, what you were saying, GPT, Gary P. Turner, that there's greatness. Jordan represented the best.
Yeah.
Tiger Woods, I like how it kind of fixed that. He could have been the best, but he made some mistakes here. But he was still very.
I must be a man
play.
full of grace to do life with these guys, in my dreams at least. Right?
It means that, let's see.
Means nothing.
It means that we elevate all these people who are just so awesome, and you would represent ordinary in this,
Oh, well,
and
thank
that
you.
even the ordinary can do the extraordinary,
Oh, there you go.
and even the extraordinary can find
Yeah,
themselves
yeah,
hanging with
well.
very ordinary.
Well, tell me how you really feel, how ordinary I am. This is very humbling. I am
Compared to Michael Jordan and Tiger Woods to the world, they would be like, who?
I
Who hit
saw
that par 5?
So,
But you'd be viral now, and then
Well, there
you'd
you
be
go.
the new popular guy.
yeah, could you imagine? For 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, I like GPT's explanation. That felt really good.
It feels good.
I mean, it really felt like something that if someone came and spoke like,
Yeah.
this is what I feel,
It's a word from heaven.
I would be like, wow, there's something to that.
There is. Yeah, right. I could see that. Yeah. Speaking of Michael Jordan, did you hear the news? Like he's coming on as like a sports, not anchor. What do you call him?
Broadcaster?
Yeah.
For what?
For like NBC or Fox or something.
For what sport?
Well,
Basketball?
man, we'll look it up. Yeah. Like,
how about that?
Where is the...
Well, we love our days with Michael Jordan. I mean, we're in Birmingham, Alabama. For all the cities listening around America, he came and played in our town, but it wasn't basketball. It was baseball.
Yeah.
And if you will go back to the earlier episode of National Anthem, we get to sing the National Anthem for Michael Jordan.
Look at this.
So,
Michael
our
Jordan
dude.
to join NBC for NBA coverage
Makes
as a
sense.
special contributor.
Great.
So my mindset is the NBA's been struggling right now to get viewership, and so they're like, we got to bring somebody in that will actually
Smart move.
Yeah, I don't know. That's my
Yeah,
2
and
cents.
the playoffs have actually been doing better this year, but still, Jordan making an appearance. Mm-hmm. He's, because he is the GOAT, his greatness, I think, has to do too, because he's kind of not seen a lot.
Have you watched NASCAR?
Is he on NASCAR?
Did you know he owns a
He
NASCAR
owns a
team?
NASCAR. I knew that.
He's
Yeah.
always on it. Yeah.
And so, is he like a spokesman a lot?
No. He's the owner of a team, part owner of a team. Yeah.
But you haven't seen him come out much to talk, and to broadcast or do things like that. So
true.
it's almost like
gonna be
in a much
interesting.
different way, but Tom Brady did that this year in the NFL.
I'd watch.
And Tom Brady, I mean, he gives some great commentary, but I'm listening to him talking, and never once do I think, who is this guy? I mean, what does he know? I mean, he's won, 6, 7 Super Bowls? Mm-hmm. And you're going to listen in the same way. I would love to watch Jordan give commentary when like LeBron James flops on the ground.
Yeah, you see, back in my day, we didn't have the flop, you know.
Yeah, in my day, we got up
that,
and pushed him back.
Yeah, anybody that breathed on Jordan got called for a foul. You touched his, the fabric of his shorts as he went up for a shot.
But he never backed down.
He would,
He didn't flop. Jordan?
I don't think I ever saw him flop, no.
They probably did call heavier calls on him, but still, I don't remember him backing down. He always rose to the occasion.
Yeah.
He challenged his team to bring their best.
Oh, man. His work ethic and discipline.
And listen, you're talking to a guy, two of my favorites were Jordan, LeBron. I mean, I some people don't. I love LeBron James, but watching him the past 2 or 3 years, I do feel like I'm seeing more of I don't know what's going on, like the flopping or the complaining when something happens. And so I'm loyal.
It's like watching a soccer game.
I try to defend it to the end, but it's like, oh man, this is getting harder and harder.
I don't watch soccer or that, Europeans football very much.
It's embarrassing how
but it's like,
they do that.
Wow. It's really bad.
Yeah,
it's
former soccer
next
players,
level
though.
bad. They'll carry them off on a stretcher,
It's
put them on the
terrible.
sideline. They'll jump off the stretcher and be like, "All right, I'm good. Put me back in the game."
Yeah,
coach."
see, I'm not a big fan of that. It's
I'm like, come on,
I mean,
man.
they flop when they're not touched, and it's like that's a strategy. It's funny we're saying this now. I was talking to my boys, my two youngest. I was putting them to bed the other night, and we're having a conversation. And it came up about soccer. And when I began to play in some of these competitive leagues, there is an art, which it sounds so, it sounds wrong, but there's this art where you can actually make it look like someone penalized you. And I was just showing them some of the techniques. And I say this on air, I never did this. I never participated in it. I knew when it was coming. I was trained. I understood this, but people were trained how to walk by you, kind of grab at you, and the way your arm reacted, it made it look like you pushed them to the ground.
Yeah, because you were like, "Get off me!" You were kind of like lifting your arm in the air, and then they would respond to that and fall.
Yes, or they're guarding, and you're kind of posting up. I'll use that word loosely in soccer, but you're kind of posting against somebody, and they would slam themselves to the ground and bring you with them, and then the ref would give you a yellow card. So you had to learn how to avoid all that. But so I was taking my boys and I was showing them, I was being like the deceiver, and I was jumping on the ground, and I brought them down with me. And I'm like, you see that? It's like, you just got a yellow card. And they felt so full of like the injustice of that. And I said, buddy, it happens all the time. So I pulled up soccer games and I was showing them I was trying to find what I was talking about, but all I could find was a bunch of flopping.
Yeah.
And it's such a turn off.
Like the memes on flopping now. It's like watching a montage of just flops.
So
every second,
funny.
flop, 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 flop. You're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. So when it makes its way into like the NBA, and you just start to see people do that, it's like, I don't understand it. I don't know what's going through the mind in that moment, but I'm not a fan. But I don't remember.
I wouldn't say I was a flopper, but I was dramatic. And
were you?
So
I don't remember that.
On the field in defense.
I don't remember you flopping. I just remember you being maybe overly aggressive.
Yeah. I'll never forget getting a yellow card. I got so mad. I took a guy down or something, or it didn't get called or something. And then whenever the ball is supposed to be placed and the other team's supposed to kick it.
Yeah.
What do they call that? Like a free kick of sorts?
Yeah, like a direct kick.
I went over and kicked the crap out of that ball and kicked it out. And you don't remember that?
That was you channeling your John McEnroe side.
Yeah.
The inner John McEnroe. Yeah. For those who don't know, John McEnroe was a tennis legend who just had the worst attitude. He always would break rackets. And Rhett in his early days.
Man. I only had one emotion.
You had the anger emotion that just would go off.
There's a lot of psychological things that go along with me understanding why I only had that one emotion. And I'm not going to get into all that today.
Understood.
But I have grown to realize there are so many more emotions than just anger.
I'm with you, man.
But that was about all I saw expressed.
Common threads. Yeah. I remember in the worst of my moments, I would get so mad at one of our friends that we'd go play a lot of, outdoor basketball with, pickup games. And I always remember having this white Nike hat, and I would take it off and just start slapping him with it. Do you remember that?
Yes.
He'd make that wrong move. And it was like, I didn't know how to just talk it out. I got angry and I wanted to beat you up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we only had, I don't know, I can't speak for you, but like anger like was the only emotion, as I mentioned, but I never really took it out on people.
Yeah.
And then when I say that, I have this image of us playing basketball one time.
Oh, I know where you're going, and I know we have to be careful.
But I want to be very careful with that story. But what I would say is I would take it out on inanimate objects, you know.
And an animate one that day.
But like with tennis, I would take it out on my racket.
Yeah.
And
are you talking about the 2-on-2 pickup game?
Yeah. That, but
in Parkway's gym?
but at the soccer, but soccer, I would take it out on the soccer ball.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take it out on anybody.
Right.
But I think one day it just caught up to me.
It did.
And we were playing that pickup game. And
with two really good players. Phenomenal. They were the stars of the basketball team.
And if this individual is listening today, please accept my sincerest apologies. I was a young kid and I should have known better, and I apologize. Hopefully, if we ever run into each other in public, you would have the grace to forgive me as Christ has forgiven me. And so I'm a better man today than I was when I was this teenager.
Yes.
But I'll never forget giving at least 2 warnings to my brother in Christ and the Lord today, right?
Yes.
So we were playing, and you and I, we only knew how to play really street ball. Like, let's be honest.
We were street ballers.
We didn't, what's a foul? Come on,
it's
man.
True.
I mean, like, whatever, Right. And anyway, this individual being really good, at that time in our high school, and he would be somebody all of our high school friends would know.
Yep.
Was driving the lane a couple times. He'd put his shoulder into me, and like as he'd go up for a shot, he would just push into me, and
because he was taught to draw the foul.
Yeah, I taught to draw the foul, but I'm also like I play differently, and that's
they didn't know that about old Red.
I was like, bro, you do that again, like
you did.
I'm gonna. I literally said that. I said like, do it again.
Yeah.
And this was after like 2 or 3 times of getting like sucker punched in the shoulder blade as he's going up for a shot. And I said, if you do that again, I don't know what word came out my mouth, but it'd be the last thing you do. I think it's something to that effect. He probably remembers.
Yeah.
But all I remember is he did it again, and I went red. I went red, and I slapped the brother.
It was the slap heard around the world. A lot of slap.
And I am not proud of this. And man, wow, what a moment, And that was the moment you kind of jumped in between.
I had to because his teammate immediately went after you.
Well, after me, I was red. I mean, he didn't really get near me. It was that whole like I'm gonna get you, man. I'm going to get you, man. And like,
which
as a
means
teenager,
as your teammate, I now had to insert myself into it.
It's that whole like, back and forth.
I'm with him, kind of holding him back, like, hey, come on. It's good.
Because you're probably like, I can't. What is happening right now?
It did, yeah. And,
oh man,
and yeah. I mean, it looked like the wrong picture.
Oh, it was the wrong picture.
Yeah. It looked like
it didn't look good. It didn't look.
It wouldn't have looked good if you walked in. It looked like a fight among people.
Yeah.
We're in the
being
gym careful
right
now
at the private
because
school.
We know our heart. We know their heart. It wasn't.
Of course,
we're all friends.
We can all laugh now. I hope.
But in that moment, it got pretty heated.
But lessons were learned on all fronts.
Well, they never. He never tried to do that shot on you.
No,
again.
Never did, and I don't think I ever heard from him again.
Yeah,
and we never played pickup basketball again.
I did because I was more close to them because we were in the same grade.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Yeah, because I was two grades, or at least a grade. No, it was 1 grade above.
You were just 1 grade above.
Yeah.
But
there you go.
Those, what made you bottle that up and finally it just came out. It's okay. So this is changing.
Because that was not me, man. Like, I mean, but like, it was like, oh man, I've got so much in me and it's coming out.
There's a reason for that though.
Yeah.
The other day, just something unexpected happened to me and my wife made a comment and that's what made me change the subject to this.
No, but we need to change this.
No, this is great. But what happened was I have a swimming pool. This is the time of year. I'm trying to make sure it's going to be immaculate by summertime, which, we have a few weeks left. And so I'm just wanting to get everything prepped and ready. I'll go out there a few times a week just to go ahead and salt it, make sure it's going good. Well, I went to the pool skimmer, and I usually just kind of backwash stuff out, make sure everything's good. I make sure nothing's stopping it up. So I lift up the little pool skimmer, and usually in there, you got all the stuff that's collected. I put in one of those grippers a long time ago where you can bolt it in. So instead of reaching down to the basket among all that gunk, you can take the little plastic handle.
Yeah.
Which is funny because this time of year in the South where we're at, there's spiders that will get all over it. So I have to bring like a stick in there, and I'm kind of knocking the spiders off. I'm not really scared of spiders. I actually see them as the good guys. Like they'll destroy a lot of things, especially like in our neck of the woods, wolf spiders.
Wow, how times have changed.
They have. Isn't it funny?
I mean, as a kid, we couldn't. It was a brown recluse and a black widow. That was it. Everything.
Well,
every spider. It's a brown recluse.
I'll lift up, man, every time. Well, I lift up the skimmer, and I'll go dump it in the side yard and let the spiders run loose. Go do your thing. That's my normal deal. Well, I'm so conditioned that I'm looking at it, and I got my hand there trying to knock off the spiders that I don't look at the lip of the skimmer. I just see at the side of my eye what looks maybe, I have a lot of trees, so it's just a brown leaf or something. And I look up, and it is a copperhead snake coiled up.
No.
Brother.
No.
Yes.
Little one? Or
It's a little one, but it was enough to could have done some damage.
Gosh.
Copperhead. Coiled up right, and they
never going to swim in your pool ever.
They
never going to swim in your
to.
pool.
Yeah.
I haven't got the invite yet, but I'm like never going to swim in the pool.
Yes, you will.
I'm done.
You will.
No, I'm done.
It's good.
No, I'm good.
Copperhead coiled up right there.
Oh my gosh!
And I see it, and it's like it hits me, and I back up slowly.
Yeah.
But then it's like in my body, it's so just pent up of just stress and like fear.
Fight or
and
flight,
I just have to go like, and I'm just shaking my body off. I'm doing the craziest.
Your arms
my arms are
right
flailing. I was doing like a dance out there because I had to get it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So we end up dealing with it. Full disclosure, my brother is like,
he came over to the care business.
He's the man. He's not scared of anything. I looked at the clock. It was Friday at the time of this recording, and I looked at it. I said, he's probably on his way to the house after work. Call him. Hey, Bo, are you driving by, on your way home? Yeah. Would you mind? You're probably close to my house, aren't you? He said, yeah. Would you stop by, man? I'd love for you to help me get rid of this copperhead. He comes over. He's glad to do it. He loves it.
Yeah.
He gets the shovel, cuts its head off, and we, dump the body.
So it wasn't in the bucket. It was just right on the lip of
it was on the lip of the edge. Like my hand is right there.
I'm even
so
touch you.
Thankful.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful I don't know what was going on. I'm so thankful.
Oh my gosh.
But when Bo got the tool, the shovel at it, it was like striking at him.
I bet it was.
But he killed it, cut its head off.
Now you've made it mad.
We dumped it in the woods. And so, anyway, so that was awesome.
Where were
you
standing when that was happening? Were you up on your balcony or your porch?
No, I was a few steps back.
Okay.
I was like walking up behind him, and then as he got closer, I was like, "Now be careful, Bo." And I'm backing up.
Honestly, what I was thinking was he's going to pull out his shotgun and be like, "Pop, pop," and then just put holes all in your pool.
Well, he didn't want to hurt our pool, so he did it very careful.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to get like my .22 pistol if it would have been in the grass.
Oh man,
I would have overreacted.
You got to be a really good shot with a .22 pistol.
I'm a really good shot.
Okay, I'd like to see that.
I can put them down, or I'd just get my. I would have just probably got my AR-9.
Wow, Justin, tell us what's in your arsenal, please.
There's a lot there. You better stay away.
Yeah,
people.
okay.
I will defend my family in the name of Jesus.
Yeah,
at all costs. That's I have to steward.
Yeah,
taking care of my family, so I'm ready just in case. I hope I only use it for target practice.
Yeah,
or to take out animals if we ever need to. Anyway, but that I use my sniper. I have a sniper rifle I'll use for animals.
That's awesome.
Which it would be cheating for the sport of it.
Yeah.
That's another story. When my brother got me, he buys me guns.
Yeah. That's his love
for
language.
Like Christmas and birthday. And he'll go put the most crazy scope on it. And I remember getting this one scope that he bought me to put on it feels like a sniper rifle. And the person didn't want to put it in at Bass Pro Shop because they were like, "You're taking the sport out of this using."
Yeah.
He's like, "It's not even fun anymore." And I said, "Well, I'm not getting it for the sport of it. I'm getting it for such a time
I'm
that I need
getting
to
it
defend.
to take care of business.
I want to take care of business from a distance before I take care of business up close.
Business. Yeah.
And so I didn't really care what the guy thought, but that's the kind of arsenal that it's like I have accumulated.
There you go. Yeah.
So that's why I was going to just use the 22 to take out the snake.
I got you. Yeah.
But I talked, all that story. So that was great. Bo took care of it. But I will say this: when we first moved into that house, we had this like this deck by the pool that was already there, and in theory it was cool, but it was just to me it was an eyesore. I wanted to just knock it all down and put some trees for more of the beauty. And when we had the guy come to do all that, he found two. There were like 2 or 3 copperheads around there. So we were around.
Well, the
woods.
deck went out, and the hill from your pool went down, and so the deck was out above, so almost like a 90-degree triangle
with a bunch of wood.
And so
under
you could
there.
only imagine how
All
that was a
kind of stuff
nest
under
of
there.
infestation under that deck.
And but when he saw those, and I remember he was like a tough dude. He just he would just pick them up and kill them. I'm like, and he threw him out in the woods, so I never saw him.
It's like
This
the guy
is
in our small group.
first time. Oh yeah, he
We
was.
won't talk about that.
Sorry, buddy. If he's listening, he's probably like, "Why'd you kill that snake?"
Yeah.
And a lot of people are probably saying that the way I've actually learned of. If you ever go to neighborhood, like your neighborhood
the
app,
neighborhood for whatever neighborhood.
and people will ask about "Hey, what do I do if I find this snake?" If you read 100 comments, I'm telling you, go do this.
Oh, yeah.
About 80 of them are like, do not hurt that snake. You need to let it live. They'll take care of all the bad.
Well, a rat snake or something I'm down with, but no, if it's a copperhead, it's going to meet Jesus.
Yeah. That was my deal too. He is Satan.
Copperhead, water moccasin, any of those.
And so that was a bummer because I haven't seen that since 2021. So seeing that, it is a little bit like I got to go out there today. And I'm already going to be analyzing my surroundings like crazy.
Yeah.
The point that I even told that story is when I got home, when Summer got home that night, I was telling her the story. And as I'm even telling it, you know how the emotions come out again.
Your adrenaline starts
I
pumping.
do the flailing again. I'm like, oh
You're
my gosh.
reliving the whole moment. Yeah.
I said, and I even told her, I was like, I don't know why I'm doing that, but I even did that then. And she says, and she's a psychologist.
Yeah,
she's a therapist. Yeah. And she can really read my mail and stuff. And she said, Justin, that's good for you.
To relive it?
I said, and I was like, what do you mean telling the story? And I think that's fine too. Yeah. But she was like, no, that you did not bottle it up. You got
it out.
You screamed. You threw your arms around. You gave yourself a reaction to acknowledge the threat that was there.
Yeah. That's really good.
Or whatever it was that was there. You have to get it out. And so that has just stuck with me.
Yeah.
And so in the same way, in every area, even a conversation you and I had earlier today, in so many ways, when we bottle up stuff and we don't acknowledge and allow our body to actually react to it, hopefully in the appropriate way, because if we don't, it's going to come out into
somebody like me.
It's going to come out into like the slap heard around Parkway's gymnasium.
Yeah.
That's circa so true because 1992 probably.
Yeah.
And because you hadn't really been able to just maybe deal with that in the right way. It's amazing how that stuff.
Yeah, because what came out really wasn't about what was happening in that moment. It was bottled up other aggression.
It was the straw and emotions. The camel's back.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the individual, or it was my issue that went so much deeper than that little basketball game.
Oh yeah, no,
which was pointless at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it only happens to like you're going through the maturing process, and you got to deal with your stuff.
Yeah,
and we have been in a culture where it's healthy, almost it's almost communicated to just don't deal with it. Just kind of put it back and let's just kind of move on. and you know what? That advice is good for certain times, but it's also there's a time we gotta acknowledge and deal.
Well, the first time I sat down with a therapist, which is a very good thing to do, I was like, man, where have you been all my life? I wish I would have done this a lot sooner. And I know we've talked about this before, but I will never forget sitting on that little couch. And she asked me, she was like, hey, like, how are you feeling right now? I'm like, good, like, okay, like, explain, like, talk to me about the feelings you got going on. I was like, don't really know how to do that. I'm good. The joy of the Lord is my strength, And she's like, and I know this sounds so lame, and this gives, I get it, it's pretty lame. But when you're sitting on the couch, like I'm always the guy that grabs like a pillow and puts it in his lap or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about
That's
having to like
normal.
grab something
That's
or
normal.
whatever.
A lot of people.
But she was like, that pillow right there. I was like, yeah. She said, oh, on the other side of it, there's a whole like circle of emotions. Like it's like this wheel of sorts with like all these different emotions. And she's like, pick one. Which one of those are you feeling? And I was like, oh man, this is like weird. What was weird about it for me was like, I did not realize there was that many emotions. Mm. I literally thought there was happy and there's sad, or there's joy and there's anger. Like those were the extremes.
Yeah.
I know as a 47-year-old man, I forget how old I was at the time, but 5-6 years ago or however many years it was, I was like, that sounds silly coming out of my mouth right now. But the reality is, wow, there's so many different emotions, but I didn't know it. Mm-hmm. And I couldn't even begin to tell you which ones I was or I were. I know that's bad grammar, but it's interesting to me because I always grew up from the lens of, wow, this was anger, or you're happy or you're sad or you're anyway. So anyways, I've been on this journey, and part of that journey is podcasting and talking about it.
Oh yeah. Well, there's a lot to talk about.
Sometimes I feel like the best therapy is just sitting here talking, man.
Yeah, I agree.
And at the expense of our listeners. Yeah. So thank y'all for letting me grow.
Well, I would think that
this journey
people enjoy, they enjoy refreshing. They enjoy vulnerability, authenticity, because it is important, because it might not be anger that, the listener's dealing with. It was anger, but there was so many different things with me too. I mean, there was a sense of pride. There was a sense of, just knowing it all. For some reason, I can remember wanting to always have my act together. There's perfectionism. And there's some people who hear that and they don't struggle with that at all, but they want to be a great worker. So we all struggle just with different things and how we have to go through the maturation process.
Well, that's a big word.
To actually do that. Yeah, maturing. Maturation. We have to go through the maturing.
You're going to have to talk process. At my level. We're doing it. It's not like... Hey friends, just want to take a moment and say, if you are enjoying today's conversation, could you do us a huge favor? Would you take a moment and copy the link from your favorite podcast platform and share it with a friend? Email it to a friend. How about airdropping it over to your buddy or your sister right now? Man, that would mean so much to us. Thank you. All right, guys, back to the conversation. I had to Google this really quick, but like if you Google emotion wheel of some sort, this is what I was looking at. Like if you Google this if you want to, but like there's like a center section and then there's an outer. Think of like a what do you call darts? Like a dartboard. Yeah. In the center, you've got happy, surprised, bad, fearful, angry, disgusted, and sad. Yep. And those alone, I was like, okay, I could see some of these. But then as you go to the outer part of the wheel, I mean, you got sections of like insecure, weak, rejected, threatened, let down. And that's
all under fear.
Yeah.
Fearful.
And under anger, okay, you can get a little bit more specific. Do you feel let down? Do you feel humiliated, bitter, mad, aggressive, frustrated, distant, critical? And then there's another layer of that gets a little bit more micro detail. Betrayed, resentful, disrespected, ridicule. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that's really good.
Are these emotions? I'm like, I could not be, I was like, I'm just angry. And I couldn't identify all these other things. And I had to go on a journey for it.
I find one interesting too, that part of anger, kind of that third layer down is numb. And that was one of the things I remember you sharing with us that one of your therapy appointments. That they were like, what are you feeling here? And you were like, I don't feel anything. I feel numb. And they said, well, that's your problem. Like there was a problem there. But to trace numb back to angry is not something people would naturally do. I would have
never done that.
But that's really skeptical.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been angered. Maybe you've been left out of something. Maybe you've been excluded from something.
Yep.
And now you kind of become that cynic. You become a skeptic. You become dismissive. That's that third layer. Second layer of that really is under more critical, where you become distant. When you begin to see someone maybe you work with on your team or a friend, they become they're starting to criticize everything. Like, I'm guilty. Yeah. I can do that. They become distant. It's like, I've been there because anger. It's interesting that you're showing that, because I can get distant, because I might give an idea, and if it's not welcomed, instead of saying, hey, instead of fighting for it more, I might be like, okay, well, I'm just not going to say anything. Let's see how this thing falls apart. It's like I grow distant.
My answer was always, well, my answer should be that I'm joyful. My answer should be because I know Scripture. Like I know the Scriptures that tell me that I should, the joy of the Lord is my strength. Or I know the Scriptures that tell me not to worry and not to be anxious and to cast my cares on Christ because he cares for me. So I shouldn't be worried. I shouldn't be anxious. I know the Scriptures, right? And so everything that I was combating were all the Scriptures in these moments of why I shouldn't be feeling an emotion. And I had a misunderstanding that emotions play a huge part. And I'm not a professional at this. I'd love to get Summer on at some point to talk through some of this. It'd be so good. But to realize the emotions are there really not to help you understand what you're processing. Why is that emotion there? That emotion's there to help kind of just not regulate, but for you to understand what you're going through. It's pointing you in a direction, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, please, because you're a lot smarter than I am with this. But for me, like,
that's not true, by the way.
I feel that way. But anger, I never understood like that. Really, that's there because of some other things that I'm going through, and I need to be able to process that in a healthy way, but not live there. But just journey through it. And not act like it doesn't exist.
Well, you need friends. Like we have a friendship and we get into our issues. And you got to have friends, but you also have to have mentors who've been there that they can speak that into you, and you're open to hearing what they have to say. And they have proven that they can do that with their life. But also you've got to have people that you can also pour what you've learned into. And so that's all the part of this, because if you're overcoming and getting all this, but you're not having anybody to pour it out to, that's almost like you're not allowing that flow to continue to go through there. But anger. I mean, and I know we can, on a lot of these stories, we'll take it back to, our childhood, because it really is, that's an important way to start. But even growing into younger men, I mean, just, I'm trying to look at some of this stuff like, under fearful, where, some of those not second layer, but even the third layer, where it's just like helpless, frightened. Maybe you feel overwhelmed. You're worried. You feel inadequate. I mean, inferior, worthless, insignificant. Maybe you feel excluded. We said that a while ago. You feel persecuted. You feel nervous. You might feel exposed. So fearful and angry in so many ways they can go. I think that's why they're close to each other in a quadrant. You would notice that they're most closely associated with each other. And so with me, I would say if I related on my bad days, the shadow side of me would be more reverting to between angry and fearful. So a lot of those second tiers, I mean, that's, feeling threatened, rejected, insecure, anxious. Some of these shadow sides that can begin to emerge. I mean, these are something, it's something to pay attention to, because when you're angry, it doesn't always mean like, well, stop being angry.
Right.
And so as a mentor, you got to understand it for yourself, but then also understand that there are flags that when you're talking to somebody and you're not trying to fix anybody, but when you're talking to somebody, why do they have that? Like if someone is getting angry constantly, is trying to look past that and think, what's happened that's made them do that? Because it's not simply them just being angry. They're being aggressive in this particular situation. Are they being provoked? Why are they being hostile? Like what has happened in their situation, whether it was childhood, whether it was something even in their young career and they're trying to advance? What is it that's making them feel that way? And so the only way you get to that mentor side is you're having to deal with yourself. And all I can do is I go back to stories. And I remember those moments, even as a surrendered to Christ young man. And it's like you feel on top of the world one day, And I mean, we've been using basketball. I can remember me, you, and Micah playing basketball.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Micah's been our guest. We'll have him back on the podcast just as a friend on the podcast, but you've heard Micah. But me and Micah would be so competitive with each other. And, you know, he could put a move like drive right by me. And instead of acknowledging like,
dude, great move.
That was good. I'm about to get you back. Like, and make it playful.
Yeah.
There wasn't any playful. I was ticked.
Yeah.
And it was like, I couldn't now just go do a move that I had to like drive right by him.
Yeah.
I had to do something maybe to embarrass him.
Yeah.
And so I remember one time like dribbling the basketball, and I could have taken the shot, but I was so ticked at what happened before that I remember when he's just kind of looking, I remember just taking that basketball and popping him on the head with it. It was terrible.
I got to laugh a little bit because
it was awful. I hit him on the head with it without letting go, like popped him. And then I shot a 3-pointer.
What happened after that? Like, did y'all like duke it out and you have to leave the house or something?
No, he regulated as a younger person better than I did, which probably has a lot to do with he also came from a more secure space with his parents.
Learning how to work through
He
those
learned how to
things.
deal. And that's what I couldn't understand too.
Yeah.
I could do that to him and he didn't want to get aggressive right away back. And it wasn't because he was scared. He was better regulated. And I could never understand, how can people not want to?
Yeah.
Like I'd watch football games and people get tackled. How did he just let him throw him down like that?
Well,
he got up. I would have got up and wanted to, I'm only thinking through my mindset at that time.
Yeah.
That's why we talked earlier. I want to grab my hat and just start swinging it and nailing that person who in my mind, he made a stupid decision. But we all make stupid decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how I reacted versus how, in this case with Micah, versus how Micah reacted. And so it's this learning curve on how we can, develop ourselves, but yet, he may have been more sad.
Yeah.
He may have been more sad on how he could go through things. And, so we all come from different places on this spectrum.
Yeah. Well, like even as I'm looking at this, like happy, for instance, I just thought, well, you're just happy. I didn't realize you could be happy because you feel valued, you feel respected, you feel confident, you feel successful, you feel proud, interested, you're content. Like I would have never known that type of intricate explanation that actually ties into happiness.
That's good.
I would have just thought happiness. Like even surprised, that's a feeling and emotion. I would have never thought that feeling surprised, like a part of that could be confused. And not maybe in a negative tone, but like, well, that's surprising, confusion, perplexed, astonished, awe, eager, energetic, like all of those are, through the lens of being surprised. And I'm like, wow, man.
There's the good surprise of excited and amazed, but then you get into, you just confuse me surprised.
Yeah, like, whoa.
You startle me. I don't I don't like the surprise birthday party. I don't like being surprised.
My wife hates surprise
You know what I mean?
parties.
So, but that's that
my
category.
My son hates surprise parties.
Yeah, it's like, please don't surprise me. Tell me what you're getting. Well, my oldest doesn't like surprises. He's like, just tell me what you want to get me. I don't want a surprise. It's like,
we had a
know.
surprise birthday party one time, and some friends put it together for our son, and it traumatized him. Like it was like it was great. We had a good time, whatever. But like he was like, I never want to do that. And please don't ever put me through that again, because he wants to be prepared. He wants to know how his emotions could be prepared to walk into this situation and stuff. I'm like, man, I would have never thought that because I'm like, dude, bring surprises on. I love it, man. Let's go.
I do too.
Like it's my love language. Part of me like, oh, surprise, let's go. This adventure, But like some people don't like that, I'm like, wow, I can't understand that. But
Yeah, so, my 30th birthday, Summer had arranged this surprise party at one of my buddy Brandon's house. Well, Brandon had already reached out to me and said, hey, can we hang out? What me and some of my buddies would do is we'd build a fire pit, like in the backyard, and we'd, just like me and you do, we'll talk. We can go deep in talks. And he said, I just need to process some things in life. Well, if you talk to me that way, I'm there.
Yeah.
That is my wiring. I am like, let's talk deep, man. Come on. And so I'm making my way to get to his house. And then I get another call from one of my other buddies. And he calls and like, hey, you want to hang out tonight? And of course, I'm glad I told him the truth.
Yeah.
I was like, Hey,
yeah, you're really glad you told them the truth because you didn't know they were working the system to get a surprise.
I'm glad I didn't say like, I got other things going on. But I was like, hey, I'm actually going to go hang out with my buddy Brandon. He's like, oh, you are you? It's like, yes. He's like, can I come? I'm like, man, we just need to talk some stuff tonight. But next time.
Oh, that's so funny.
I pull up to the house and I walk in and it's like 50 people. Yeah. And that, Brandon, obviously his house, but then my other buddy right there standing there.
He's right
they
there
were just monitoring to see where I'm at.
Yeah.
But me, I loved it. I loved it. I mean, we sat and watched, I'm dating myself here, a DVD of like some of me and you, our old concerts, me, you, and Micah. And I'm just loving it. Mm-hmm. And having the center of the tension. They do good old karaoke.
Yeah.
There's people that if you do that to, they're going to try to find a way to get out of that house quick.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, how long is this party going to last?
You mentioned DVD, and it took me back to a moment I had about a week ago. So, CDs. Like, man, do you remember? And I had this situation. I was visiting a family member at the hospital, and this family member wanted worship music playing on when they came out of surgery. And so my dad had this CD boombox player, whatever. I don't even know what they call it anymore, but like a radio with like a compact disc. You hit the open button and the whole thing opens up on the top.
Yeah.
And he had the big magazine full of like discs.
Oh yeah.
And he was like, what do you want to listen to? I'm like, it has been years, bro. Since I'm like, just pull up your phone and hit play, And he's like, what do you want to listen to? And I am literally, going through the folders of like CDs that are all in their little slots. And a bunch of these are from like, back in the day when I was like 17, 18, 19 years old. Ton of Hillsong stuff, and I'm like, I'm overwhelmed. I'm like, I don't know, like Ron Canoli stuff, like whatever. But what's funny about this is that I'm like, okay, no big deal. But I take out the CD and I'm looking at this machine like, how do I know how to operate this thing, but I'm literally having a moment going, okay, hold on, put it in, close the door, and I'm like, all right, then there's a side button on the side that chooses between radio, tape player, and disc. And I had to slide it over to disc, and I'm like, all right, wait a minute. And then I have to put a play button and then give it a second as I hear it spinning. Zing, 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 zing. You hear it spinning. And then all of a sudden, and then I hear it. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, God, I feel so ancient. Here I am trying to figure out how to like remind my brain how to use a CD player.
Oh yeah.
And I'm laughing at myself going, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I
Siri,
feel like
play this song.
It'd be like throwing a telephone, old school telephone with, in front of my son and he'd be like, what is this? Like, how do you use this thing?
What is this rotary?
What is this cord? And like, I mean.
Why is it coiled?
Yeah. Hey guys, Red here. Just want to take a moment and say thank you to every single one of you who have taken the time to follow us on social media. Now, if today is your first time to join us for an episode, man, we want to say welcome, friends. It's so good to have you with us. Could you take a moment, look us up on Instagram or Facebook? You can find us there at Armchair Authentic, or you can go on over to X, find us there as well at Armchair Auth Pod. That's Armchair Auth, AUTHPOD. All right. Now back to the conversation.
Most people wouldn't even have a DVD player to play the DVD.
Think about how long it would take you to get a DVD player going. I mean, maybe you have one in your house, and I'm not trying to be offensive, but like
we've kept one in our downstairs room just for the heck of it.
Well, is it a DVD player or is it a Blu-ray player?
It might be a Blu-ray.
Yeah,
well, but it plays. Yeah, it plays my normal, so maybe it is.
Well, you
need to come over and watch some. We got some dandies.
Well, you think about the day you put the disc in, you wait for a second, it takes forever for the thing to pull up, but then you've got the menu. From the play and the behind the scenes stuff, and then when you hit play, and then you got to go through. Some of them were designed where you got to go through all the credits before you even get to the pre-commercials of all the movies that are coming out or whatever. Yeah.
There's some good old recordings.
I'm just like, Apple, play this, and then it plays on my Apple TV, and there you go. It's crazy. I was always the guy like, I will never go all digital. I'll always own my stuff. And I'll always
Did you? Oh, you were always the cutting edge guy. You always had the latest.
I went through a season where I was like, no, I'm owning my own stuff, man. I'm not going to pay a service for $20 a month for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I'll own it.
And look at us.
And here I am. Yeah. I don't own anything. Zero. Nothing.
It's all borrowed.
Apple owns me.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're keeping all your pictures, and they're keeping all the memory. You're going to have to get another terabyte one day, and it's just going to keep collecting until you're 80, and it's
digital garbage.
Everything is going to this.
My computer is so full right now. I'm like, you need to clean your computer. I'm like, well, all of this stuff's important. I can't get rid of all these videos and photos and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get a bigger computer.
I have one of my buddies, he's in ministry. He's in another state, just Brandon. And he was telling me he had just started like a sabbatical. Like it's really cool. He's going to be taking an extended sabbatical.
Good for you, Brandon.
I know, dude. It's
I know
so
this
good.
Brandon, don't I?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And but he was talking about how he was telling me some of his plans, and I'm thinking that sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Like I think he's going to go see some major league games on the West Coast.
Good for you, dude.
And he's going to rent a car and drive like from San Diego all the way up to Seattle.
Oh, that's
and just
fun.
take a few days.
Convertible.
Just part of it. Oh man. But anyway, when he was talking about that, he's going to first, before he gets everything going, he's going to take about 3 days and go stay in this. No, he already did this. He went and stayed in this hotel for a few days in his town. And his whole goal was, I'm going to go through like a digital cleansing. Like he's just going through all of his phones, all of his apps, getting rid of everything he doesn't use. Stuff we would think would be great.
Yeah.
But he's using this time as like purposed. On this day, this is digital cleanup. And I'm listening to him on the phone.
It sounds amazing.
It sounds great. And I need to take a day.
I don't know if I'd be disciplined enough to go through all that.
And just do this. But how good would that feel just to get rid of all the stuff? But as far as like my photos and my phone, I mean, there's like duplicates and 10. I'm not getting rid of those because I don't have time to go through them all. But there's coming a day where there's hundreds of thousands of photos that we'll never get rid of. We'll always pay a service. Yeah. What happens when you die? I guess they're gone because your service is done.
I don't think so. I mean, like if you have an Apple ID, let's say you're speaking to iPhoneers. I don't know anybody
that's true. Yeah.
How the Samsung Galaxy and Google
I don't
people
care.
work.
I'm not changing.
Yeah, I'm not changing. I mean,
I've got too much invested
I've sold
Apple.
my soul to Apple at this point.
Yeah, me too.
I keep seeing these things about cookies, and I'm like, "Well, yeah, please, where are the cookies? Yeah, accept. And I still don't have a cookie.
See, I always deny them.
Oh man, I'm like, accept all.
I'm like, deny. I deny. Do you want us to have your location? I'm like, no.
Why do you call this a cookie, man? It sounds good to me.
It does
yes,
sound
I
good.
want some cookies.
I don't
Give
want
me
a
some
digital
cookies.
cookie. Digital cookie.
At some point, the cookies are going to show up on my front door.
You keep saying yes. It's like, do you want this app to track your location? No. Everything to me is no.
I'm no on those things. I'm no.
But
I'll
have to say yes at certain times.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm feeling somewhat only the things that are most important. But I'm like, surely, like, when did we get to this? Can we just turn this off?
We are captive. Ridiculous. The Matrix is real.
Like, did you read all the licensing and all the fine print?
Yes.
No. Yeah. I'm like, just
you
hit the
can't
button.
say no to that.
I want this app. So
you can't say no to anything. And so, they could have the audacity to say, I give my kids away.
I mean, yes. Yeah.
I did not know that I agreed to that.
I want this app
I
so
just
bad.
want the update.
I don't want to read all this junk. Just give me the app, dang it.
It's so true. There's so much we're just so tied to. But I will say this, when you mentioned happiness a while ago, there was a word that stood out when you talked about kind of that second level.
Inquisitive?
Take a guess. No, it was actually when you said the word content.
Content, yeah.
And it goes into a deeper layer there, and it says free and joyful.
Yeah.
And I love that because even as we're talking about the being tied down with these apps and these services, it does feel a little bit like you're just tangled up in all this stuff.
Yeah.
And even in our life, all the stuff we take on, we're tangled up. Jump back on the snake. If you don't get that release, it's like I'm kind of tangled up in that fear. The anger that we're talking about, it's like you're tangled up until that moment happens where the slap heard around the gym. occurs. And there's just something so, man,
I love that.
I'm so drawn to that free, that when you see that free person, they're just,
I'm glad you mentioned
you know what I mean? Like they're free. They're not, they have done the work.
Yeah.
They're not into all this competitiveness in the unhealthy way. Mm-hmm. Like you're dealing with someone and they are who they are in the best of ways. Like the who they are is the redeemed side. Yeah. They are content in who they are and who God made them to be. And there's just something refreshing when you're sitting down with people. They're not staring at their phone because they've got so many other great places to be. You just happen to be the best one right now.
Yeah.
They're not like attached to these strings. Like they truly are free to just engage in conversation.
If you were to ask me how I feel today or in this season of life, that would be something that I would say I wouldn't have been able to feel that way a few years ago. Not that God wasn't doing great things, but like where I was personally. But on this journey, I would say, man, a plethora, I love that word, plethora, a variable, like variations of all these. But I try to make a conscious choice to choose contentment every day. And there's something freeing and joyful about it. Even, being real, even as we're having this conversation and talking, like hopefully my hope is that you're getting a season of our life, or at least with me, I'll speak for me, and I feel like I'm speaking for you, is that this podcast can even be that people can begin to maybe even experience some of our conversation in a way that comes from a place of contentment to where, man, like I'm grateful for our friends who listen, but whether or not people listen or not doesn't really matter. We're still having this because this is who we are. And we're having a good time.
That gave us our why to this. Our goal is we speak this when we're encouraging people. We want to live it first.
Yeah.
To have a weekly time just to get with someone who is a very close person to you and just talk life, that's the benefit.
Yeah.
This is icing because we enjoy the microphone.
We do.
And we enjoy the craft. Like it's a hobby. Like we enjoy with us, it's what we've always done. We did it as kids.
Yeah.
I mean, and you put childish things away, but what I'm saying is there's the wiring that you were packaged with.
Yeah.
Since birth. Like there were people who were putting together things because they wanted to be architects and engineers. That wasn't me, but what we loved was pressing record on the what you were talking about a while ago, the little recorder. What do we call them?
That would have been a play button and
a play and record at the same time.
Yeah, on
and we'd record ourselves and then have fun with it. But what this is us getting to use the craft of recording radio, if you will. But we're having talks, and I will step away from here when I'm on my drive to wherever my destination is. 100% of the time, it was a worthwhile investment.
Yeah.
There's the side, if we can now say contentment, when I'm not walking in that though, I will have to go through my analyzing self. Like if let's say I felt like I didn't perform the right way on our podcast and talk and maybe say some of the right things, sometimes I recognize I'm just charged up. And I might be on my car ride home thinking, I don't even know how great that was. I don't even know. I could have brought something better.
Really?
But that's a performance side.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, it's actually not true.
Yeah.
It's all this invisible. We've said it before. Who is they? They. Who is that unrealistic, unachieving they that we put in our minds? So there's this they that I'm not content. I didn't perform right for.
Yeah.
And that's all a lie. And so what you do in your maturing process, or the big word, maturation process. But in this process is learning. It's not bad to get charged up, but it's learning to respond different. So when I'm playing basketball, it's not bad that I can get charged up. It's a sign, it's a signal. But when I get charged up, ready to hit somebody in the head with the ball, it's now the reaction of realizing this feeling I'm feeling is real and it's coming from somewhere. But I'm not going to react on this because I'll be reacting on something I'm going to regret for a long time. in the same way with this, when I'm charged up, once I let it subside, I've learned now just to put on an audiobook, put on some music, maybe get on the phone with a friend. 30 minutes later, I'm chill and I'm feeling great and I can't wait for it. So it's interesting how our mind operates. I'm not happy when I'm charged up like that.
Yeah.
I'm in a mode of a pretender.
Yeah.
I'm in the mode of trying to perform for something that I feel unworthy of. Now we're getting to some of that other category.
Yeah.
I might feel unworthy that I have to do something to achieve a worthiness. Those are just thoughts that are hitting our head that they're real feelings, but it's not true. They're not true statements.
Yeah.
And they're not true declarations.
Yeah.
And part of our maturing process is learning to understand the charged up might not always go away, but it's learning how to be like Teflon, where when that feeling of anger or that feeling of sadness or that feeling of exclusion or that feeling of not maybe achieving what that early year projection said I should go achieve this. That wasn't something God said to achieve, but it's this early projection saying, go achieve this. And now I'm not. And now I might be a little excluded or feeling like I missed out. Those are charged up reactions. That's being reactionary to something that is the proverbial they.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with what really matters, which is where is God in this? And what does God say about your life right now? And staying truly to your authentic God-shaping self, because we are all in process.
Yeah.
And so even to simply have this dialogue in our podcast with each other, that's why at the end of the day, I'll always walk away saying that was a good investment. If I feel like I performed for it,
Yeah.
those are the ones that you can ever listen. If you ever listen to an old something and you think, oh, I remember my mindset in that moment. That
nobody else knows those.
no, only you know it, and you're
that.
like, that was spoken.
Yeah.
I shifted out of my contentment there. That was me speaking out of a fearful statement.
Yeah.
That was me turning into like pretender, or turning into I'm nervous for a reason because I'm fearful, so I'm trying to create a shadow happiness.
Yeah.
A false humility, the opposite of true joy and true contentment.
Yeah.
And true curiosity.
Yeah.
Interested. Like when you're happy, that's another one that talks about you're interested, like you're curious, you're inquisitive.
Yeah.
Well, my shadow side of happiness is like I've got it all together and I'm not very curious. I don't ask any questions. I want to be the one who already knew everything. And that's arrogance and that's pride. And we'll end up addressing more of that on our maturing process on next week's episode. But yeah, man, Red, I appreciate you pulling out that emotional will there.
I wasn't planning on it.
We deal with it.
You know, I think this is the beauty of our conversations. We really honestly have no idea where they're going.
We kind of go where we go. This is all overflow.
It really is. And so I meant what I was saying, like this is therapy for me. Like our listeners are having an opportunity to go on a journey, if anything, just, you know, at my expense. But even some of the things you were sharing, like it's therapy for you too. I mean, just being vulnerable and talking through some of these things. And I hope people understand we're on a journey. We have not arrived. And I love the opportunity that we have to just steward our conversations in a way that hopefully encourage people to realize, hey, you're not weird. You're not alone. Like you're not broken. You're human. You're going through the same stuff we are, you know, and we're all on this journey together. So I did think about one thing about this, Will. I always thought it would be like, there's a positive end of emotion and a negative end, meaning like I need to be living on one side and not the other. But like, it's okay to be angry. Yeah. But in your anger, don't sin. That's right. Right. So like, it's not saying you don't need to live on one half or the other. I always thought I got to always live on the happy, joy side. Right. And it's a sin for me to be fearful. It's a sin for me to be angry. It's a sin for me to be disgusted. But no, God, like in his righteousness, has a righteous anger. Right. That's right. And there are healthy things to fear. There are things we do need to be disgusted with as well. So I hope as you're listening to this, and I'm reminding myself that these emotions aren't negative emotions, Like they're there to help us process in a healthy way.
Yes.
Right. The things we need to process in a righteous and healthy way. So even being sad, that's not a negative thing. We need to process the sadness.
Yeah.
Like you're not broken just because you're feeling sad right now and not happy. It's you're not less than for feeling these emotions. Like you're human.
Yes.
And so I just, at least for me, reminding myself and maybe trying to encourage somebody on the other end of this thing is that the goal isn't happy. Right. The goal is humanity. It's being human, and it's processing all these things together in a healthy way that speaks to our humanity, which ultimately is being sanctified as a follower of Christ.
Yeah.
You know, in the fruits of the Spirit and the love of God in our life, making us more like Christ. In Christ experienced every one of these emotions.
Yeah, I love how you brought the clarity of that. That right there, from happy, surprised, bad, fearful, angry, disgusted, sad. You just highlighted the book of Psalms.
Yeah.
It is complete on its own. We encourage all of our listeners, make that like a daily part. Try it.
Yeah.
Try making that part of your daily regimen.
If you've never read the Bible and you're read the book of Psalms, that can sound very overwhelming. And so what's interesting about the book of Psalms is that they're just really short little snippets of prayers and feelings and emotions. So like you could really, there's like, I don't know how many are there? There are 150. Yeah. So there's 150 of these little short little clippings, you know. So you could read Psalm 1 and read it in 30 seconds.
It's true.
And there's so much truth in that 30 seconds. So somebody who's listening who may have never opened the book of the Bible up and you begin to read this, just know it's not overwhelming. It's something that is very manageable, and you can read, you know, a chapter in 30 seconds.
Absolutely.
You know, and so that's encouraging to me. That's why I love it. I love it because I'm that type of person. I'm like, I can read in 30 seconds.
People who want to the quick read, and the encouraging thing is if you're wired where you just want to let it just marinate,
it's there
you
too.
can take a 3-verse psalm and just dig into it and have a full meal. Matter of fact, next episode, we're going to break down one of the Psalms for you and how applicable it is to our life.
Yeah, that's a big word to end on.
How applicable.
Applicable?
How
Applicable?
applicable.
I love messing with you on these things. It's so fun. Hey friends, thank you so much for joining us on today's conversation. We cannot wait until our next episode that drops next Monday. So until then, we hope you have a great day, stay safe, and we will see you soon right here with your friends, Red and Justin at Armchair Authentic.